I've had enough. Just get the job done.
Ooh.
Garrett! Garrett, I'm slipping! The claw! Give me the claw!
I think it's okay to give it to her now. That's a book, but
Garrett! Garrett!
what the hell? What? Okay. That was weird. Okay, so wait, I don't quite understand. Why was he opening that book instead of just giving her the goddamn claw? I'm a little confused by that. I obviously missed something, but anyway, that's the new Thief. Overall, I enjoyed it as a stealth game. I don't think it was a good Thief game. They took too much out that made Thief Thief. Thief was not a great game series because of the mechanics. The mechanics definitely were part of that. Make no mistake. I'm gonna speed this up a bit. But yeah, make no mistake, it was a good game mechanically, or they were good games mechanically, but it was also really good because of the characters, the story, the presentation, all that was really good. It's just like Portal. People didn't love Portal just because the mechanics were interesting. They loved it for the characters, in particular GLaDOS, and the twisted sense of humor that the game had. If you just remade Portal with kind of the same mechanics but ripped out the sadistic, smarmy AI and took out the funny turrets and all that other stuff, then it wouldn't be as interesting. It wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting. It wouldn't be Portal. And I feel like this was... I'm not going to say it was Thief only in name. I think that's a bit too far. But the Hammerites were missing. Yes, there's hints that the hammers are there. And there's hints towards the mechanists. And there's no hints for the pagans, I don't think. Maybe there was. But yeah, I mean, we're missing all the factions. And there was nothing interesting replacing it. It's like, well, we took this out, but this interesting stuff we put in instead. The main protagonist, or the main enemy. Yeah, anyway, the main enemy wasn't really that interesting. The Thief Baron, or the Thief Catcher General, or whatever the hell his name was, he was kind of interesting. He was just kind of in the background. He just showed up sometimes. He was just kind of a background character. Like, this game had one too many villains, and they didn't have time for all of them. But yeah, I mean, he was all right, but everybody else was just kind of blah. Don't really feel anything about them. Not like the Trickster and Victoria and the main boss guy for Mechanist 2 or Thief 2, whose name I totally forget. So yeah, I'm very disappointed as far as the story goes. And also the setting was pretty generic. I guess you could argue that graphically the setting for Thief was pretty generic, and I guess you could agree. I could go with it. It was it's pretty generic-y steampunk if you ignore the different factions, and even they weren't super unique. They just had their own interesting little quirks. But the Thief, the voice actor for Garrett was fine. I think he did an alright job. I still think it's stupid that they didn't use the original voice actor. And I think their reasonings for not using him were probably even stupider than not using him. It was some bullshit about motion capture. Because the voice actor who does Steve is an older guy. He's not like super old, but he's pretty old. And they wanted the voice actor to be the person who did the motion. It was just really idiotic reasonings. So that was a really just unacceptable reason to choose another voice actor. His character wasn't that interesting, but it was, I would say it was far off. It was kind of far off from the original Thief. Not in the way that people were saying, oh, the new Garrett's a real prick. Like, what are you talking about? The original Garrett was a prick. He was self-centered. He didn't give a shit about anybody. The only reason he helped other people was because he got something out of it. So, and he didn't give a, like, there's nobody he gave a shit about. Obviously, Garrett cares about Aaron. He cared about, what's his face? The guy with the crow. Basso. You know, shit like that. So he was more relatable in that way. He wasn't like the lone wolf who, you know, the true anti-hero. He was still kind of anti-hero. I mean, he stole shit and broke into people's houses all the time. But he was kind of the, you know, the anti-hero sort of, but not as much as Garrett. But even Garrett wasn't like a evil person in the first series. He just wasn't nice either. He was a thief. He steals shit. He doesn't care about anyone else. So, yeah, he wasn't like a savior or anything like that. So, overall, I mean, graphically, let's talk about the graphics. By the way, I'm going to do like a semi-full after the fact review of this game. It'll probably go up a few days after this is over. I like to kind of sit and think about the game afterwards, because sometimes when I do these mini reviews, they're not intended to be in-depth reviews anyway. But there's kind of my off-the-cuff, I just finished the game, here are my initial reactions type feelings. But yeah, the graphics are phenomenal. I absolutely love the look of the city, the look of the various areas. They just looked really, really good. And the game ran really, really well all around. Yes, granted, it was dark all the time, so I'm sure that helped. And a lot of times you were in more closed-in areas, so that no doubt helped. But the game, I don't really care, because the game looked phenomenal. Sound effects wise, I like the sound effects, I like the eerie sounds, all that was really good. All that really well done. The Dawn's Light complete. Nice. Oh, almost totally Ghost. I think I did tip off a few people. 38%. Wow. Not even close. Holy shit. Loot found 20 of 52. Yikes. Continue. Let's see what it does from here. I'll finish my mini review here in a bit. What if you can... End of game. Congratulations, you completed the main storyline. You are now free to explore the city further and replay any chapters or client jobs. Okay, cool. Cool. I like that they did that. I very much like that they did that. But, yeah, sound effects wise, I think it did really well. I really miss and this is kind of goes with the whole character of the game as well. I miss like the dopey guards and the dopey conversations they used to have. All that shit was really cool in the originals. But overall, I enjoyed the game as a stealth game. I think it was a poor Thief game. It's a poor successor to the Thief franchise because other than stealth, it was missing most of what made...
It took a while, but I fixed it. At least something's back to the way it used to be.
Huh, interesting. It just wasn't Thief enough. It was, again, you could have made this like another name, and other than saying, oh, this is a lot like Thief as far as your time frame, it wouldn't have really been Thief. And I understand it's a reboot, but I think they took a little bit too many liberties to the point that it wasn't even a reboot at that point. It was more a game with the same character names. So, yeah, overall, I would say it's just an off-the-cuff score. As a stealth... Now, another thing I need to mention before I get to the score. I've heard and seen, actually, videos of a lot of people with showing off how bad the AI is. Now, we didn't really experience it much because we didn't... I'm actually running out of... Oh, I'm actually running out of swoop. It takes way... You can use it still way too much. I don't know if that was in the game since the beginning, but you can use swoop way too much. But anyway, that was another problem. Swoop was just overpowered as hell. But Yeah, I just, I forget what I was going to say. God damn it, I was hoping I'd remember what it was. Oh, I'd seen a lot of AI being abused horribly, and the AI isn't any, like, the AI in Thief wasn't any better, like the original games, but Thief was 15-ish years ago, so there's no excuse to have it been as bad as it was. In the videos I saw, again, we didn't see it that much. And we did see some things like they would notice a door was open, but then sometimes they didn't. Like near the end, right? I was keeping those doors open and they were just like, meh, whatever. But early on, we left doors open and they were immediately like, hey, what the hell's going on? So, which I think they should have noticed that I left doors open, especially on hard difficulty. So they didn't make almost any strides forward in the AI, which is really, really sad given how long it's been since the original Thief. There's just no excuse for that, to make the AI that poor. So with that in mind, because I actually would like to do at some point, I'm not going to plan on doing a video on it, but theoretically I would like to do a video where I knock guards out and maybe do like a no save loading run, that type of thing, so that you have to be very much more cautious, but you have to run away from guards if you attract them and all that. So given that, and given how bad the AI is, and given the other bugs that I've seen, and the fact that it's only kind of a half-assed, well, not half-assed, but not a great Thief game, but a good stealth game. There's a lot of content to do as well. A lot of side shit to do, which I really like. I'd give this game about a 6.5 or a 7. And again, I'm rating this on my scale, not on the IGN scale, where a mediocre game gets like an 8.5 and a bad game gets a 7. I'm actually using the full scale, where 5 is a game that's like half good, half bad. This game was mostly good. People who enjoy stealth games, I would suggest picking it up. I also like to grade games on price. In other words, what I think you should pay for this game. If you really like stealth games, period, you don't really care about, you know, who it is or whatever, you're not tied to the lore or whatever, I'd say this would be worth about $40, $45 if you really like stealth games. If you're a huge fan of Thief, the original series, and you're more of maybe a Thief fan than a stealth fan, I mean, maybe you could be both, but you're like me, where you like stealth games, alright, but you haven't played a lot of them, but you just really, really love Thief, you love the atmosphere. Maybe 25-ish, 20, 25, because again, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed playing it, but I found myself frustrated with the unnecessary changes they made, the unnecessary dumbing down of the game, with jump not working, swoop being ridiculously overpowered, the AI being poor apparently, which I didn't experience. So yeah, and if you don't like stealth games, this isn't going to change your mind, I don't imagine. This game's not going to make you love stealth games, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know, overall pretty good game. Like I say, a 6.5 or a 7. Not bad, definitely not as bad as like the fanboys, and not as bad as I was expecting. I was definitely expecting a really shitty game after all the things that went down with this one. But anyway, I've rambled on quite long enough. Do expect to see a more organized review of the game later on. Not super organized, but anyway, goddamn, stop talking. Thank you guys for watching the entire series. Please leave comments in the description below. Let me know what you thought of the series. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.